Welcome on into the First Round Fantasy Podcast, your home for second round advice. Gabriel Maramontes, joined by Jacob Bartley. Jacob Bartley, I notice you don't have your Twitter handle on your thing. Should I change mine?
No, you shouldn't. Because I have to switch back from this podcast and the movie podcast, so I always forget to change it, but I will change mine.
Wait a second. We just got a Rip Coolio in the chat. Is that true? I'm typing it in now. Just to make sure. Oh,
wow.
I didn't know that. That sucks,
I had
man.
no idea.
Man, that's I strictly only remember him from the Keenan and Kel song, but I'm sure he did a lot of other things. That's unfortunate. What a sad way to start the show.
Coolio, you only remember him from that?
Yeah, I didn't really listen to a lot of rap back in the day, Jacob.
His main song is Gangsta's Paradise, so...
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Very secluded as a child. Very sheltered.
Very RP.
That's sad. Well, thanks, Star Drew, for ruining our day. Now we're just sad. But we got fantasy football.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, plug him in real quick. Thanks for commenting. Welcome on into the First Round Fantasy Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at First Round Fantasy. You can follow Jacob at Jacob FRF Sports or me at Gabe FRF Sports. We post from time to time, but mainly we do our stuff here. So thank you so much for showing up. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, and hopefully we get some viewers coming in, chiming in. We always love when that happens. But, Jacob, we're going to get right into it today. Are you ready, man?
I am ready.
Before we get to waiver wires, we're going to start with our question of the day, and it's a keep trade cut. I love keep trade cuts. We usually put them at the end of the show. I'm putting them at the front of the show today, and this is a really good one, at least I think. My mind has already been made up. I should also clarify that if I look snotty and sound gross, it's because I'm getting over something. I don't know how I keep getting sick. It's just inevitable at this point. Treylon Burks, wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans. Allen Robinson, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams. And Elijah Moore, wide receiver for the New York Jets. All three of them keep trade cut. And if you want to, Jacob, we could do this for redraft purposes. I think it's a little bit more straightforward when we're talking about dynasty with a little bit of discussion. But we're doing this strictly for redraft purposes. Keep trade cut, Treylon Burks, Allen Robinson, and Elijah Moore. And just because I wanted to, Treylon Burks is currently wide receiver 74 on the year. Let me get Robinson. Allen Robinson is 66. And Elijah Moore is in between them at 69.
Wow.
So you're really banking on rest of season outlook, or at least immediate output for the next few weeks. What are your thoughts?
That sounds terrible. Can I cut all of them?
No,
I'm just kidding. No, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't cut all of them.
You didn't even give enough time for that joke to simmer.
No,
I wouldn't dare do it.
I'd only cut maybe two of them, so that might give you a hint towards where I'm going here. But all right, so if you forcing me to make this decision, then I'm gonna cut Elijah Moore, and I'm gonna trade Allen Robinson if anybody will trade, and I'm gonna keep Treylon Burks because a lot of people were super high on Robinson going into this year. And I decided to kind of stay neutral because I wasn't sure. It could go either way. Like, he could have a blow-up season with Matthew Stafford and the Rams. He could kind of be a little bit of what he was last year. And so far, it's been the latter. So I'm not sure about him. But I do think he's a big enough name, and someone in my league might be optimistic about him with the Rams, so I can trade him. I'm not loving what I'm seeing from Elijah Moore. I'm ready to cut him in a redraft league. But I think Treylon Burks, I think the Titans are trying to get him involved. He dropped a pass last week that would have gave him a much bigger game. And I just like what I see from him on the field. Been watching a lot of Titans games. I don't know why. But it's because they were playing the Raiders and I was watching it with my roommate. But yeah, I just like what I see from Treylon Burks. It's more of an eye test thing.
Yeah, for sure. I guess it's easier than we think. Mine's a little bit more skewed than yours. I am keeping Treylon Burks, like you had mentioned. He's had some plain, just flat out mishaps that could have given him much better days.
Yeah.
And his snap count is going up. His routes per route run are going up. He's bound for something. I just don't know if it happens with Tannehill, but I think he's in the prime position out of all three of these guys, being a number one option on a run-heavy team. I still think that
And
a lot more
like
fantasy
before
production.
last week, he had a couple promising weeks, like not crazy fantasy production, but like real life NFL stat production wise,
Exactly. So we both are
Yeah.
keeping Treylon Burks. I am cutting Allen Robinson. The targets just aren't there for me.
Yeah,
4
I
to
don't blame
5
you.
targets each week. And if he's not catching a touchdown, then he's not doing anything with those targets. It just doesn't look good. I am trading Elijah Moore on the pretense of what you said about Allen Robinson. So many people were high on Elijah Moore this year, going into the year with everything that was coming out of camp, all of the good reports. People were very high on Elijah Moore. And you could tell the tale that, hey, guess what? Zach Wilson's coming back. And they were buddy-buddy before he was injured. And people might want to buy that. So with that being said, I'm keeping Treylon Burks, cutting Allen Robinson, and trading away Elijah Moore. This guy wants Dallas Goedert and McKenzie, and he will give me T. Higgins. My other wide receivers are Devontae Smith and Debo, and David Njoku at tight end. 1,000% I would do that trade. Jacob, T. Higgins, I'm doing it. I don't care about Dallas Goedert. McKenzie's, he's going to give you more headaches than he is rewards. I'm doing that trade. 1,000%. I want T. Higgins on my team.
I would. You have Njoku? Okay, yeah. I mean, either way, even if you didn't have Njoku, I'll go find a tight end on the waiver wire. I'll do that trade in a heartbeat. Yes, 100%.
There you go. Thanks a lot, Alex. Appreciate it. Let's see. We're moving quick today, Jacob. Waiver wire wins and woes. Clearly, we don't have enough time during the week because we're just busy guys, okay? We got other things to do. We got real jobs. We don't make money on this. We are here for you. The sole purpose, you, right? So we can only do it once a week. Soon to be twice a week, baby. We'll see. TBD. Anyways, with that being said, we don't always get to talk about the waiver wires. So this week, let's talk about some of the guys you were happy to get, some of the guys you were disappointed that you missed out on. And this week, I was very much disappointed that I missed out on Romeo Doubs, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers.
He was tough to get.
He was tough to get. In one of our personal leagues, a good friend of ours put almost $300. Now we have $1,000 fab limit. And I just thought that was insane because I put $32 on it.
It all depends how bad you need it.
He added a zero to that.
Yeah,
very true. It depends on how much you need him. But I think our guy in our league didn't really need him that bad. And surprisingly, in our 12-team Dynasty League, he was already rostered. So smart sounds there.
Of course, yeah.
And I've just been trying to trade him all day. I've been trying to trade for this guy. And it goes to show because, Christian Watson, the other rookie that they invested in, the Green Bay Packers invested in over the –
Who was a higher draft pick.
He's been injured. It's going to be hard to kind of get into a consistent rhythm. It's going to be hard to continue to build that repertoire with Aaron Rodgers, especially with a track history where he's not really into rookie wide receivers. Well, he's into this one, Romeo Doubs. Sammy Watkins is also injured currently right now. Alan Lazard looks like he's, missed that first game. He's been relevant. People have been starting him. Maybe he could have a big game at some point. But Romeo Doubs was just so involved. And after, he was 8 for 8. It's not often you go for 8 for 8. That means he's targeted 8 times and he has 8 balls his way. That's a guy that I'm really glad I can have on my team. And I think he's going to be more of an impact player now while those other players look to get healthy. And so for redraft purposes, he's a guy that if you want wins right away, I think he's a good guy to plug into your lineup right away. And if he has a few more big weeks, ties them together, we could be talking about a guy that's a fantasy darling for the rest of the year. And you know what? I talked so much about him, Jacob, and I forgot that we're going to talk about him a little bit later. Who are you excited about?
Wow. Yeah, you are right. Kind of blew your load on that one. Yes, I am.
I can't say that's what she said, but I just did. Oh, my goodness.
I'm having some quarterback trouble in some of my leagues. And I was very happy. And look, I had the third waiver priority in this league where I have Russell Wilson. I'm tired of Russell Wilson. I'm not giving up on him yet. You got to consider context. Those 3 first weeks were not fantasy friendly games for Russell Wilson. I mean, the Houston one should have been, but I don't know what happened there. They weren't fantasy friendly games. He's still figuring out the offense. I'm not going to drop Russell Wilson, but I was very happy to get Trevor Lawrence on my team. He's on the verge of a breakout. If you started Trevor Lawrence all 3 weeks, you're not disappointed at all. For me, look, I love the 45-point games for my quarterbacks, of course, but all I'm asking for is for my quarterback not to lose me my matchup. And I think Trevor Lawrence is capable of that. So if Russell Wilson has a couple more duds, I'm dropping him. I'm starting Lawrence. But for right now, Lawrence is on my bench because he has a tough week against the Eagles. And I'm going to start Russell Wilson against the Raiders. But I'm very optimistic to switch that around coming forward in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, no one could have foreseen. I mean, I'm sure there's those few guys out there
Of course, yeah.
that don't do fantasy football podcasts, that are walking around telling everybody I told you so about Russell Wilson. And you know what? Hey, mini claps for you. Mini claps for you. But we're talking about the here and now, and he's just not cutting it. And Trevor Lawrence seems to be a guy that's on the up and up. So not a bad pick. Not a bad pick at all.
A lot of people might be wondering why we are not talking about Khalil Herbert and Alexander Mattison. You know why? Because at least me, Gabe, most of the time, our proponents of already rostering these guys in the first place. They should have been drafted in your drafts. A guy like Khalil Herbert, who we saw last year when Montgomery was out, was an RB1 every single time. He should have been rostered. And I literally had Herbert in every single league at one point. I dropped him in a couple, but that's why we're not talking about those kind of guys. Cause I'm a proponent. I love getting my handcuff for my major running backs, but also even if I don't have Montgomery, I'll still roster Khalil Herbert. So he wasn't available in any of our leagues. Neither of those guys were.
Yeah, same can be said for Jamal Williams, running back for the Detroit Lions.
True, yeah.
Another guy that was, looked at as kind of like a middle of the road handcuff. Now he's up in that upper echelon handcuff. It looks like DeAndre Swift is out through the Lions bye, which I think is like week 7, but we might have to fact check that.
You're going to be without DeAndre Swift for the next 3 weeks, and the third week is because of the bye week, but still.
Yeah, and I hate to say this, but all props to Shaw if you're listening out there, because the first thing I thought about was if I have Jamal Williams and my running backs are stable already, I'm going to go and gouge the DeAndre Swift owner as much as I can to get as much as I want for Jameson Williams or what's his name? We were just talking
about
Jamal
Williams, yeah.
Jamal Williams, thank you.
Well, they have Jamal and Jameson Williams.
Yeah, true, but I'm talking about the running back. Anyways, and that's exactly what he did. And
he put him on the waiver wire, but I'm the Swift manager. I'm not. I don't
know. Oh, that's you in that league.
Yeah,
very good. How do your running backs look other than Swift, though?
So I have Javonte, but I also have AJ Dillon, who's not as a must start as I thought he was. But I still believe in him. But I also have Jeff Wilson, so I'm not desperate for running backs.
Fair enough. Yeah. But those two running backs, guys that were obviously already going to be taken if they weren't already. Romeo Doubs was probably a guy that was going to be picked up. Trevor Lawrence is definitely a dagger, just like Star Drew says here. Jacob throws straight daggers this week. I don't know if he was referring to, Trevor Lawrence, but yeah. So those are a couple of guys. If there's any more, maybe a tight end, let us know who yours are in the chat, and we'll be happy to respond back to you. Always love a good conversation. With that being said, I got to reverberate what I just said earlier. So I think I'm going to let you go first, Jake.
Yeah.
Let's get into our dark horses for week 4. But before we do, let's recap our dark horses from last week. Yours, sir, was Russell Gage, wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was projected on Sleeper for about 11.5 points. He exceeded that, and I think you even called for the 15 bomb, which are great flex numbers, and he certainly hit it just on the nose. Congratulations to you. Some people might have said I took the easy way out, and to them I say, maybe. I went with Jeff Wilson Jr., running back for the San Francisco 49ers. His projection on Sleeper was 11.8. He exceeded that right around, I think, depending on, it's weird. I think we had a bonus in our league or something.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it also
ranged from 13 and a half to 14 and a half.
yeah.
So he was
And
right there.
it wasn't a bad call because like they're going against Denver. I'm surprised I'm surprised he hit his mark, like to be honest. So like he did way better than I thought. And Gage also in some of our leagues, like he got up to 24 per game. So, or for the last game. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I misspoke on that 15. Yeah, he actually, no. He did much better than 15 fantasy points. Good call there, Jacob. And to preface the Jeff Wilson Jr. take, that was for people who were more casual, thinking, well, I mean, I'm not going to start him. I don't know about San Francisco running backs. So that's why my logic was, hey, Jimmy G's back, no more Trey Lance. It's going to solidify that backfield a little bit more and bring a little bit more clarity to those RB1s, which in this case, for the foreseeable future, is Jeff Wilson Jr.
Well, yeah, and running back is the new tight end now as far as being a wasteland. So what Jeff Wilson did was very useful last week.
Very useful indeed. Let's get into our picks this week, and I'm kind of sad. I'm sad to see your pick. I just now am seeing it for the first time. I'm interested to see what you have to say, and while you talk, I'm going to try to come up with a rebuttal, but I don't know if I have one. So, Jacob,
wow,
let's hear your week 4 dark horse for this week.
Yeah, so I was looking around, and I'm going to go with Travis Etienne of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, look, compared to what people have wanted and expected and drafted this guy for, he has not been lived up to those expectations. Obviously, you have his backfield mate, James Robinson, absolutely killing it as a top 5 running back in most scoring formats. So you might be thinking, and also, wait a minute, who are they playing? The Philadelphia Eagles, who their defense is playing extremely well. So you might be thinking, why in the world would I pick Travis Etienne as my must start or dark horse this week? And when I say must start, quote unquote, I mean like the last guy you throw in your flex and you're hoping for like a good 12 to 15 points. But here's my reasoning behind this. Like I talked about this a little bit last week. Gabe asked me who's a guy I would buy low on, and it was Travis Etienne. And same philosophy goes here. Look, he's not doing great, but he's not killing you. And look, last week he's had the most rushes he's had so far. So his rushes keep going up. 4 in week 1, 9 in week 2, 13 in week 3. I think they're easing him in. Again, he's essentially functioning as a rookie. So just view him as a rookie in the same exact way we would view a James Cook or another rookie who's not just the automatic starter right now. And you just got to be patient with these guys. And he's actually doing a lot better than James Cook. And he's also obviously getting involved in the passing game, a few targets a game. But my reasoning is I think if the Eagles defense is going to play that well, and look, we see the Jaguars are playing well, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to struggle a little bit against that Eagles defense. And I think what he's going to do is going to be dumping it off to Travis Etienne a lot. If you look at the matchups that the Eagles have had the past 3 weeks for opposing running backs, none of them have had monster games against them. But if you look at all of the usage combined between multiple running backs on all those teams, they all had a fair amount of passing usage. And especially, well, I mean, Swift had a great game against the Eagles in week 1, but he didn't have a monster target or receiving performance. But I think if you look at those performances, like, okay, both of the running backs on each team are getting a fair amount of targets. And then you look at Travis Etienne, like, yes, James Robinson's going to get some targets, but I hope the Jaguar coaches know what they're doing and they're playing well. So it looks like they do. You want to get your pass catching back involved in this game. And like I said, Eagles defense is really good. The Jaguars offense is playing well. So I think that when Trevor Lawrence falls under pressure, he's going to go to his trusted pass catching running back, Travis Etienne, and I think he's going to have a decent week. I think you're happy with between 12 and 15 points from Travis Etienne in week 4.
Fair enough, Jacob. Not bad, not bad. Like I said, I wanted to go. I wanted to look for some rebuttals. As far as attempts are concerned, it was really only in week 2 where Robinson completely dominated the carries with 23. But in week 3, they saw a pretty even split. Travis Etienne with 13, James Robinson with 17, and a pretty even split with targets as well. So in reality, who's finding the end zone? That is
James Robinson.
Really? Well, yeah. Let's see. James Robinson has 3 touchdowns on the year. Travis Etienne has 0. So you're banking on the fact that the Eagles defense is going to stifle the Jacksonville Jaguars running game and force them to kind of dink and dunk, just like Josh Allen did last week, where we saw Devin Singletary catch an amazing, 9 or 10 passes out of the backfield for a fantastic PPR day. You're banking on something like that happening in this Jacksonville and this Jacksonville and Eagles game. And I think it's an entirely possibility because someone like Curtis Samuel, who a lot of people found fantasy relevant even when they faced the tough Philadelphia Eagles backfield. He did a lot of things behind the scenes, a lot of the things coming out of the backfield. I think he had 5 rush attempts as well. I don't view them as the same guy, but almost similarly in the same role. So, Jacob, I'm rooting for you. I really am. And I think that it is a interesting pick. But no. At the same time, it's a good pick because they are seeing the targets and they are seeing the same amount of carries. James Robinson is falling in the end zone. So you're basically hoping for the breakaway run or the touchdown this week. And I'm rooting for it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to make this fun, I want to challenge. Nobody was talking about Russell Gage last week, so I was like, let me throw Russell Gage out there, and then I want to challenge myself a little bit and pick something that's not too safe. And what do we have to lose other than our reputation?
Other than your reputation. And you know what? I like Jacob. He's all about taking challenges. And I'm over here, Gabriel Romero-Montes, playing it safe. And some might say that I'm doing that again this week. But before we get into it, that was Jacob's Travis Etienne.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to say 5 catches for 60 yards and 30 yards on the ground for Travis Etienne. So what does that get you? 11, 14 points. There we go.
Are we Yahoo now? We're doing the fearless over here?
I just want to make a guess. We'll come back to that and see what happens. 30 yards rushing, 60 yards in the air, 5 catches.
Okay, cool. That's Jacob's dark horse of the week, Travis Etienne, running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Speaking of playing it safe, I already talked so much about this guy. I'm going to reiterate it here just to get my point across. The guy that you should be starting in your flex spot this week and who could very well be in a running or in a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 conversation very much in the near future is Romeo Doubs, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Must I know, rookie wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Yes, I said it, rookie. Aaron Rodgers has a track record of not finding his rookie wide receivers. Unfortunately, for fantasy owners out there, Romeo Doubs did just the opposite last week, commanding 8 targets and showing out with a fantastic 8 receptions and a touchdown, 2 touchdowns. He was absolutely unique, dynamic, and kind of what that Green Bay Packers defense or offense really needed. They've been kind of interesting to watch these first few weeks. And in week 3, they did something a little bit different, and that was get Romeo Doubs involved. And boy, did it look good. Christian Watson currently injured, and he's another rookie wide receiver who's trying to find his way into the mix there in Green Bay. And I just think it's going to take a little bit more time to build that consistency, to build that repertoire with Aaron Rodgers. Sammy Watkins, injured as well. That's unfortunate. He's kind of been there on and off his entire career. Other guys that are there, Allen Lazard, completely fine. He's been good since his return. I think 13 and 14 fantasy points respectively. Those are good for RB2 flex consideration numbers. But as far as finding a guy who's going to demand targets in an offense, man, Romeo Doubs looked good. He looked really good, and I look for him to continue it this week. I think he's got a juicy matchup, and actually, I kind of want to get that matchup up there. Jacob, can you look that up for me? Who does
He's
Romeo
playing
Doubs
the
play this week?
Patriots, so
You know what? Playing the Patriots, sure. Defense of yesterday, in my opinion. I still think
I
Al
mean,
Lazard is the wide receiver one there, which means I think Romeo Doubs is primed for some room to find. I think he's going to have a fantastic game. Currently on Sleeper right now, he's projected for 12 fantasy points. So they've already come out. He's expecting to be used. I can't talk today. This is going to make for a really good clip because I am just choking on all my snot and drool this week. But Romeo Doubs, calling it now, 15 plus fantasy points. He's a guy that I think you can probably even start as your wide receiver 2 this week, making it even more interesting as you look to find those dark horses who we usually suggest are probably going into your flex this week. Those guys who are kind of on the fence about. Well, don't be on the fence about Romeo Doubs because he is my dark horse for week 4 of this young fantasy football season. Jacob, any thoughts?
yeah, I mean, to add to your argument, like, look, it's not that the Patriots are going to shut down, like, they shut down every single wide receiver or pass catcher. It's just that, like, those games are always, like, iffy. Like, they're always low scoring. They're mainly low scoring games. I mean, last week wasn't with the Ravens and Patriots. But look, Mark Andrews, like, tore up the Patriots. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a Mark Andrews. So Mark Andrews is their number one target, the Ravens. And it's not the same. They're not guarded by the same people, blah, blah, blah. But Romeo Doubs, I think, can have a good game against the Patriots.
I'm all there for it, man. Thank you so much. Again, Romeo Doubs, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, my dark horse for week 4 of this young fantasy football season. Before we move on, Jacob, we got some questions in the chat, so let's get to them. Should I do Rashad Bateman and Hollywood Brown for Jalen Waddle?
Wow.
That's a good
I
one.
don't know, man.
Gut decision tells me this. Bateman has caught long bombs in the first 2 weeks of the year. Then we saw in week 3 when that doesn't happen.
Week, yeah.
When it doesn't happen, he's going to put up some low numbers. Matter of fact, he's going to put up really low numbers. 3.5 or 3.9 fantasy points last week. Didn't look good. Hollywood Brown is putting together a very good fantasy season so far. But he's not exploding. He's not giving you anything that's going to give him top-tier production. Waddle, on the other hand, we've seen him explode. We've seen him provide nice fantasy production. So with that being said, a 2-for-1. You also have to bank on the fact that if this is a redraft league, Hollywood will eventually become that wide receiver too, which Greg Dortch is a guy that we've talked about a lot lately. He's also been a fine player for the Arizona Cardinals. If he moves back into that wide receiver 3 role, Hollywood finds that wide receiver 2 role, that could be really good production. I think we need a little bit more, and guess what? Val's knows exactly what we're talking about because he wants to give us his team. Russell Wilson, Najee Harris, Saquon Barkley, that's fine. Let's look at those wide receivers. Sutton, Marquise Brown. Wait a second. Does he have
That's Hollywood Brown,
already?
no.
Oh, no. Bateman and
he's
Davis.
Trading. So he would be trading Bateman and Brown for Waddle.
For Waddle.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got Sutton already. He's got
so
Gabriel
then you
Davis.
Would be Sutton, Waddle. I don't know, man. That your wide receiver depth would be hurting a little bit. Well, here, let me just say this. That's not an easy
and he's got
easy
Gabe
trade.
Davis.
That's not. Oh, you have Gabe Davis. Yeah. Look, that's not an easy trade to make either side. But for me, going into the season, I was not a high believer in Hollywood Brown as like a potential wide receiver 1. I just didn't see it. Last week changed my mind. And I don't care if Hopkins comes back or not. I still think that Hollywood Brown's going to be the number 1 wide receiver. Think about this. Him and Kyler Murray are like best friends. So look, football players are human beings. You're a quarterback. You get your best friend to come be your wide receiver. It doesn't matter. You're naturally going to throw them the ball. It just happens. But on top of that, like, look, he had 17 targets, 14 catches for 140 yards, 33 fantasy points, depending on your scoring, maybe less. But I don't know, man. Like, I love Waddle. He's way better than both of them individually. But I kind of would rather hold on to the 2 wide receivers.
What I'm really looking at here is what has he done so far this season? He's had the big blow-up game, 11 receptions. Before that, though, I mean, we're looking at 4 catches. One of them was for 102 yards. The other one was for 69 yards and a touchdown. So kind of even out there for fantasy purposes. Hollywood Brown has been very consistent, and I like what you said there, Jacob. You've kind of turned the tables on him as to what he can be.
I changed my mind a little bit.
Some might say that when DeAndre Hopkins comes back, Hollywood Brown is even going to be a better option. He's going to have more room to operate. Yeah. So on the pretense of that, I think I say your name is Val's the GOAT. It's really dependent on, are you looking to have that Tyreek Hill type of production, which is what Jalen Waddle is giving us right now. Big blow-up games with nice production on the side. Or Rashad Bateman and Hollywood Brown, which Hollywood Brown or Rashad Bateman has already shown us that he's going to give us those big blow-up games, right? Those 102 yards, 3 catches, and a bomb and a touchdown mixed in with the Hollywood Brown. I don't think you have enough depth to make the trade. Once bye weeks comes, you're screwed.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Don't forget about bye weeks. You always got to have a little bit of roster padding for injuries. Like, you never know. They can happen anytime. It's close. If you have more wide receiver depth, I would do it. But
he says or Zeke in Hollywood. But if I'm the owner on the Waddle side, I don't think that's enough.
Oh, Zeke and Hollywood. Yeah,
it just doesn't. And then he goes here. See, the thing is, I like when people say that. The thing is, having both always gives me a tough decision for flex. Like this week, I got to choose between Davis, Zeke, Herbert, and Bateman. Is that a super flex position?
I'm thinking he's talking about Khalil Herbert.
Oh, gotcha. I understand that because it looks like when he says it, his starting lineup over here. It's Najee, Saquon, Sutton, Marquise Brown. So you're only starting 2 wide receivers. He only has 1 flex.
Oh, so it's either Bateman, Davis, Zeke, and yeah, I get that. And you always want to make your starting lineup as strong as possible. Look, I won't blame you for making the trade because I'll tell you what, in our leagues, that trade probably wouldn't even get accepted. Like, meaning it.
What?
Meaning, no, I'm saying like most of the Waddle rosterers in our leagues would not make that trade. I don't think
because we value him too much. Is that what you're saying?
Our group, kind of a couple people in our group are super high on him. So it's just people like to hold on to him. But so no one will blame me for making the trade. I just personally, like I said, my mind was changed on Hollywood Brown last week.
I'm looking at Marquise Brown production here. I just want to see stat-wise, not even for fantasy. I just kind of want to see. But, yeah, he's getting just as many, if not more, targets than Jalen Waddle. And I get it. People are making a lot of fuss about the Miami Dolphins.
Something we haven't mentioned either. Kyler Murray is a way better quarterback than Tua. I'm sorry, it's true.
He just has a really bad offensive line this year, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I have apparently lost my mouth. My mouse, which is like the third time this has happened today. But yeah, I mean, 17 targets, 11 targets, 6 targets. I think if DeAndre Hopkins comes back in week 6 and we are still getting, I mean, Greg Dortch is getting 10 targets a game.
Did you say whether this is full PPR?
I'm pretty sure
full PPR? Because that, I mean.
He also goes on to say if he can make it Zeke and Hollywood Brown, should he do it? I mean, your running backs are pretty Najee. I don't like Najee. Especially in redraft.
You're going to win your league anyway because you have Khalil Herbert. So don't worry about
it. The lineup overall is good. It scares me having only Najee and Saquon, and I would
do Zeke and Brown if it's kind of. I don't know. I love Zeke. He was my I had rostered him for so long during his heyday, but I might do that because then you get to keep Hollywood Rashad Bateman. If it so that's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a tough one. It's a tough call. At the end of the day, it's about your needs, what you do. Hopefully, we gave you enough advice to kind of solidify your decision. If it's Zeke and Brown, go ahead. Probably do it. You're basically just, I don't know. Yeah, that's just.
Look,
that's.
I'll tell you what. The leagues that we play in with our friends are very competitive, and most of the time, the person who gets the best player in the trade, that's what you're trying to do. So if you believe that Waddle, if you think the Hollywood Brown game last week is a fluke and it's going to be a little bit more like, maybe 3/4 of that is his real ceiling, then make the trade if you don't believe in Hollywood Brown, because no one's going to blame you for getting the best player in the deal.
Wow, Jalen Waddle is wide receiver 2 on the year, but really because he had that big blow-up game. Where's Brown at? I'm on Ron St. Brown. No, not him.
Yeah, but like I said, best player in the deal.
Wide receiver 18. Best player in the deal. I don't know. I don't think he finishes the year at wide receiver 2. I think he finishes more so in like that wide receiver 10 to 12 range. Referring to
I'm saying Waddle is the best player in the deal. Yeah.
Yeah. It's up to you, man. It's up to you. At the end of the day, if you want to hit home runs, this is a classic. This is what it's turning out to be as a fiddle with my mic here. Sorry about that. But this is what eventually. Oh, it's dead. It's dead. That's what's happening.
Doing the trade is safe.
Not doing the trade is safe, but if you want to hit home runs,
the grand slam,
and you want to dominate your league, and let's be honest, looking at his lineup here, he can win some weeks. He can win some weeks with where is it at? Well, actually, no, not with Russell Wilson as his quarterback. Oh, great. Seeing things.
I'm sorry. I have him too in the league I care the most about. So,
yeah, I mean, hopefully there's some other QBs on the depth.
Happy I got Trevor Lawrence.
But I don't like Russ. I don't like Najee. Saquon Sutton are great. You might need that home run hitter. This might be the player you need to give you that home run. I don't know. How many weeks are we into the season? 4. So there's let's do basic math here, Jacob. 17 games. That means there's 13 games left. Yeah. If Waddle can win you, let's say 6 weeks, that puts you at a good pace to make the playoffs, and hopefully you've made some other moves to kind of position yourself to make a good playoff run. Yeah. But hopefully Russ.
And if Gabe Davis stays healthy, you're solid.
Yeah. Let's see what Cody Armour had to say here. With Hollywood, should I sell him now or wait till week 5? See, this is the conversation that we're having. Hollywood Brown seems to be
if you're going to sell him at all, sell him now. But this is the highest his value is going to be.
Yeah, because if you sell him, if you wait till week 5, the argument's going to if you wait till week 5, the argument's going to be, dude, DeAndre Hopkins is going to be back. What do you mean? I don't even want him. He's not going to have that much value.
Exactly.
Sell him now on the pretense while you can. But I do think that once Hollywood, I'm a strong believer in the sense that when DeAndre Hopkins comes back, I think Marquise Brown is going to sustain his fantasy value. It just, what is that value going to be? Like I said, he's currently wide receiver 18 on the year. Can he still remain a top 20 wide receiver? I think so.
I do think so. Yeah.
I mean, Kyler Murray is throwing the ball 50 times a game. I think he's leading the league right now in pass attempts because they're just continuing to play from behind. And if that continues to be the trend,
him
Hollywood
or Joe
Brown
Flacco,
should be fine. Yeah, right. Should be fine on volume alone. Let's see. Thoughts, 12 team, full PPR. Antonio Gibson, A.J. Brown, Claypool, and Akers for Mixon, Goddard, Gabe Davis, and Devontae Parker.
Okay, this is a big trade.
It's a huge
Gibson,
trade.
A.J. Brown, Claypool, and Akers. Okay.
So basically, who are the big pieces of this trade? Mixon on one side, A.J. Brown on the other. That's kind of where we break it down at, right?
Mixon, A.J. Oh, wait. Yeah, and then I would say Mixon and Gabe Davis. A.J. Brown. Man, this is tough.
It depends.
Oof.
Is it full PPR? I'd ask him.
Yeah, he did say it. Yeah.
Oh, duh. I think Devontae Parker is a huge wash. He had that game last week. That was pretty cool. Pretty good to see. Glad he's fantasy relevant again. I don't think it's going to happen very often, especially when it looks like Mac is about to miss some time. Uh, Gabriel Davis, we've seen how he can be a decoy. Last week, kind of put up a dud. Goddard, we just talked about him earlier. Go ahead. Whenever you have a trade that involves a tight end and he's not Kelsey, Kittle, or Waller, or maybe Andrews, or definitely Andrews, go ahead. Make the trade.
I mean,
Because those
Goddard's
guys,
been solid, though.
sure, but like if you're getting A.J. Brown and Gibson, Claypool, I would cut him. I don't care. Devontae Parker, I would cut him. I don't care. So this trade really comes down to Gibson, A.J. Brown, and Davis for Akers, Mixon, and Goddard. Or I'm sorry, it really comes down to Gibson, A.J. Brown, and Akers for Mixon, Goddard, and Gabe Davis. That's what it really is. Because you got two guys that you can just interchangeably cut. So if we take those guys out of the equation, that's tough. I do like Akers' side a little bit more. I'll go ahead and say that. I like Akers, and I like A.J. Brown. What, man? Akers, he's been showing out the last 2 weeks. They're finally giving him that ball. I know at the heart, McVay is a guy who wants to lean on one running back. So on volume alone, that's going to replace Mixon production. Mixon's also dealing with an injury. I guess you could say Akers is too. I like the A.J. Brown side.
Look, when we're having trouble deciding, because I've just been running this trade through my head while Gabe was talking the whole time. I was leaning the Akers. I was leaning the Mixon and Gabe Davis side
gross,
for sure.
Sucker.
I was leaning that side, but if you get A.J. Brown, so wide receiver 1, and then if Akers and Gibson remain solid RB2s, or an RB1 and a wide receiver 2, I'll go Gibson Akers side as well, but barely.
I just like to plug him in here from time so I can see him. Yeah, no, I think it's Akers all the way. Yeah, I'd go Akers. I'd go Akers, A.J. Brown, and Gibson, especially with the way that Jalen Hurts is playing this year. I mean, you just don't get that kind of play, and you're sustaining an offense like that. And then you have Akers and Gibson to supplant your running back.
Mm-hmm.
Running backs are so iffy, so I'd rather have more okay running backs.
They said they're giving up the Gibson Brown side deal.
Ooh, then yeah, man. I think Gibson and Akers are fine in terms of value.
So you're telling him to hold.
I'm telling him to hold.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
No, I slightly lean towards holding.
All right. Well, hopefully we can help you out there, Brendan. See, he's got some more comments here. Let's get to him. He's giving up, like he said, the A.J. Brown and Gibson side. Yeah, I think I like that side a lot more, man. He also goes on to say, appreciate the advice. Currently have Irv Smith, Big Irv, Cup, and Diggs as my other wide receivers. Dude, what? Keep A.J. Brown. You're killing it, man. What I want to know, what I think will make this for me, is who are your other running backs? That's what I'd like to know. Because you're currently slaying at wide receiver. So if you have like another top tier running back that you're not currently saying, because these guys are just kind of in the deal, I think that'll make it or break it for me. It's always good to kind of get more background on these the depth of the positions. Gabriel Wood. Hey, we share the same name. Terry McLaurin or Garrett Wilson this week. Dude. I'm going Garrett Wilson. You know what? No, Zach Wilson's coming back. Back. I think that's a red flag for everyone involved.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, but we don't know yet. So start. That's the reason why I would go McLaurin.
Dude, even if Garrett Wilson came out and went for 6 for 70 and a touchdown, and Terry McLaurin went 6 for 70 and no touchdown, I'd still feel way better about starting Terry McLaurin this week because I think the odds are far more in his favor, especially after the good show. He was my Fool's Gold player last week, which we're about to get to in a little bit.
Just make sure you pay attention if Flacco starts this Wilson. If not, go Terry McLaurin.
Well, all signs point to Zach Wilson. But yeah, if Joe Flacco plays, I think Garrett Wilson is a fine play over Terry McLaurin. However, Terry McLaurin is the play this week over Garrett Wilson if Zach Wilson plays. Too many Wilsons to mention there. Mm-hmm. Let's continue on. Let's see. We already got through that. How do you view Hollywood, though? Do you think he's a solid wide receiver too? Of course, man. I think he's a great wide receiver too.
wide
And
receiver.
then, yeah, Jacob, you're breaking up there. I hope it's not me. Bruh, the guy just offered me Waddle for Coughlin and Sutton. I don't know about that. What? Dude, what? What? Jacob, are you there? Do you hear this trade?
Give
Dude,
me Waddle.
why is that even a trade? You better
Look,
accept that now
Conklin,
and let
bro,
everybody fight about it right now. Take
people
that trade and let
are
everyone fight about it.
look, people are so excited over Conklin, man. He's been killing it. But capitalize on that. Get Waddle.
1,000% take Waddle right now. Let's see. Oh man, I keep forgetting my mouse keeps dying. This is just such a bad day for mouses. Let's bring in this one here. Appreciate the advice. Oh, that's right. We already talked about it. What's up, man? Nothing much. What's up, man?
Like your name and your picture. What's up?
There you
Try
go.
hard, Zay.
Let us know what you're thinking about fantasy football matchups this week or just NFL matchups in general. Hall, Gibson, Akers, kind of rough. I could see why he'd make the trade for Mixon. I could see why. But I think with your wide receivers alone, my friend, in a full PPR league, your team will get you to the promised land. Stay true, stay solid. I'm not looking for Mixon, especially with the injury right now. You just got to hope that you maybe catch a fantasy darling on the waiver wire in terms of running backs or another trade plans itself out. But I'm just not in the business. Mixon hasn't been great this year. He's been good. And Gibson and Akers are going to get better, if not good. Okay, so definitely hold strong there.
Oh, and Hall's on his way to blowing up. So
yeah, exactly, dude. Keep AJ Brown. Keep those wide receivers intact. I wouldn't do the trade. Definitely went harder at wide receiver. Of course you did. But then I'm only going to have Waddle, Brown, Davis, and Bateman. I mean, it's a fine wide receiving core. Davis is going to have his blow. You have a team anchored by Hollywood Brown because he's going to be the consistency there. Waddle's going to be your
that
blow.
wide receiver core, to be honest.
No, I don't mind it either. Waddle, Davis, and Bateman. That's who you're rolling the dice on every week, with Waddle being the most preferred option every week. But between Davis and Bateman, each of them are going to be prone for blow-off weeks. That's where your decision-making is going to be if you can only start two wide receivers, and then those guys are going to be the ones you're deciding.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is all dependent on how you individually feel about certain players, right? Like, I like Hollywood Brown more than Courtland Sutton, so that's why I'm okay with you doing that trade. You're muted, Gabe.
He goes on to say, I'm high on... Sorry, I keep snotting up my nose, man. I'm high on Courtland Sutton. I don't know about him and Waddle. Would be more insane, don't you think? Him and Waddle would be more insane. I mean, yeah, you could say that because Sutton has had pretty good, solid fantasy production, even though Russell Wilson has been subpar, to say the least. But it's whatever floats your boat, man. We've given you some pretty good advice. Maybe it's been crap advice. Nonetheless, we've helped you talk through it. So hopefully that helps you in the long run. And
that was
make
the biggest gap in between Fool's Gold and Dark Horses. Or Dark Horse.
Well, hey, we still got more comments coming. Cody Armour says, and with Cooks.
This is what we're here for. Let's do it.
Do I sell him now or stay patient? He's clear-cut wide receiver 1 for Houston, but I just can't trust the Texans offense. Yeah, he's clear-cut wide receiver 1, and he hasn't done much the last 2 weeks. You could sell him if you can. You know, clear-cut wide receiver 1, 1,000-yard receiver year in and year out over the last 5 years. But
I would hold. You'd be selling low.
That's potential. Yeah, I would say what Jacob kind of just alluded to. You'd be selling low if you sold him now. If he starts to kind of get hot right before the trade deadline, that'd probably be your best time because right now he hasn't been doing what he's capable of, and you want to hope to string a few of those games, capitalize on that production for yourself, and also capitalize on the fantasy value for your impending trade partner. Let's see here. Thanks again for the advice, guys. New subscriber here. Brandon, dude, you deserve a clap.
Oh, and your picture says sports cards. Don't get our buddies Joe.
Justin, we gotta get Joe in this chat here.
Excited. Our other members.
Brandon, as always, if we completely led you astray, just come back next week and try again. Eventually, we'll get it right. That's our motto here. Eventually, we're gonna get it right, and we're gonna look good doing it. Isn't that right, Jacob?
Yes, eventually.
The fantasy sleeper.
Oh, nice.
What's your thought on Jared Goff or Geno Smith as a flyer in DFS this week? Oh man, dude, I kind of like Jared Goff even without Amon-Ra St. Brown. Geno Smith, I don't know. DFS
Who are
though,
they playing
DFS
this
is a
week?
completely different ball game, dude.
Oh, they're playing.
Jacob, I know you
They play each
dabble in it
other.
a little bit. I know you
They play each
dabble in
other.
it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I basically I at
I
least
like
put
Jared Goff.
one lineup together every week in DFS, and
So do I.
what I normally do, I'm gonna give my strategies away, but I never win, so I guess it doesn't matter. No, that's because they're all hacked anyway. That's all bots, a system winning, whatever. But anyways,
Are you talking specifically about like DraftKings or something?
I didn't say any specific thing. I'm just
Because dude, I
saying,
feel
like,
the same way.
I would
I'm
like
like,
some
how does this
future.
team get drafted? It's the
I
weirdest.
want some future sponsors,
methodology.
so I'm not saying which ones. But anyways, what I do is I go add my bargain players first. So like I look at the players at the bottom, like, oh my goodness, why is this guy only 6,000 or whatever? And I plug them in, and then I can add the big dogs later. So if you start your lineup putting Goff in, who's not going to be too expensive, then you'll be fine. I would much rather start Jared Goff than Geno Smith, though. I think Jared Goff's going to carve up the Seahawks.
That's interesting. I mean, I never win either. So fantasies
Yeah.
is sleepers. If you're a pro at DFS, maybe we'll have you on the podcast sometime. Because my
Yeah,
strategy,
we need to do a DFS segment. I think that'd be cool.
well, clearly we can't because both of our strategies suck, Jacob. Because I never win either, and my strategy is
Well, it's because we're not cheaters.
If you have a $50,000 budget, what I usually do is I divvy that up. So there's an average of about 5,500 amongst the 9 players that you're picking from. And then there's always some left over because you're always inevitably going to be picking guys that are a lower value. And then I'll go and I'll take those guys out and plug in the guys with the higher value. Never seems to work for me. Fantasies is sleepers. Give us your take. But I think we both like Jared Goff this week. Seattle defense just isn't what it used to be. I think you guys helped. I subbed because at least I have an offer right now for Sutton and Colin.
Thank you so much for subbing.
Appreciate and guess what, man? My dog's gonna bark. If Waddle goes on to be wide receiver 1 of the year, you're gonna thank us. If Sutton does great, then do another trade, come back and talk to us, and let's make sure we get it right. We appreciate you, man, so much. Finally, we get to the question here. So I have Madison. Wait, Madison. Oh, I think he's talking about
Alexander Madison.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jamal and Keenan, but can only start 2. Say Dalvin and Swift don't play. Thanks. So we're saying on the pretense that Dalvin and Swift don't play. Swift is already not going to play. So you're starting Jamal. Keenan Allen's looking to come back. But if neither of them play, if your team's half PPR or standard, you're starting Madison and Jamal Williams. If you're full PPR, I'd probably lean Alexander Madison and Keenan Allen in that sense. Jacob?
I'm going Madison and Jamal Williams no matter what. If Cook and Swift are out, because Keenan Allen's coming off his injury. Justin Herbert is injured as well. Their offensive line is falling apart. So I would go, I think it's too many question marks. For sure Madison and Williams are getting 15 to 20 touches no matter what.
No matter what. My regular starting lineup without injury is Brady, Dalvin Cook, Barkley, Evans, Jamar Chase, Goddard, Keenan Allen, and then his bench. Oh, he got Dobbs. Nice. I think Dobbs is going to be a pleasant surprise for a lot of people in the coming weeks. Rank it 1 through 10. Oh man, he thinks we're professional rankers. Let's do this. Let's see. QB. Hey, were we kind of wrong about Brady so far? Maybe just a little, but he hasn't had his full repertoire available.
Yeah, that's not fair.
I think once that team is healthy, we can really see Brady start to step up his play. Dalvin and Barkley are fine running backs, and you even supplant them with good handcuffs, not for them, but for opposing players. And Jamal Williams and Alexander Madison, I love it. I think Akers is going to come through and prevail in that backfield. Evans, I'm assuming that's Mike Evans and Jamar Chase. That's a solid wide receiver core. Goddard is a great tight end. On your bench, you got Keenan Allen. Holy cow, man. Brendan Ayuk as well, along with Romeo Dobbs. 1 out of 10, giving you a solid. If everything turns out great for you and everyone stays healthy, I'm giving you a solid 8 out of 10. Jacob?
That's where I was going to go too. Solid 8 out of 10.
You're making the
that's great.
playoffs,
Like,
my friend.
don't be disappointed in that. Like a 10 out of 10 is like, there's probably like, that's very rare.
Very rare. It's full PPR, by the way. Oh my goodness. Vals, I hope we helped you out. He said he subbed, but I honestly forgot that conversation.
No, it's the Waddle one, but I don't think he
Oh,
accepted
yeah,
the
yeah,
trade
yeah, yeah.
yet. I don't think they accepted the trade yet. They're pondering it, as far as
Dude,
I know.
I think you do it. I think you do it, man. Just have some fun. If we're wrong, dude, just come back next week and don't unsubscribe. Fantasy sleepers. I'm no pro, but I did descent last week. Just don't ask how I did in weeks 1 or 2.
Oh, I did.
Oh, he did
last
decent.
week.
Hey, can you tell him a 3rd grade teacher? Because I said descent.
I dissented last week. That's a whole nother thing.
Man. Hey, well, that's good, man. Hey, I think Jacob plays in an absurd amount of leagues. I play in about 6 or 8 myself. I won't disclose which or more. But in a handful of leagues, I'm 2-1. But I think in about 3 or 4, I'm 1-2 right now. Thankfully, I'm not 0-3 in any of them. Even in the league that I'm trying to take in, I seem to be 2-1. I don't know what's going on there, but I don't think my team's going to hold up rest of the year because that's not what I planned for. But good, man. Keep it up, dude. I hope you do solid. More fantasy luck to you. Positive vibes your way. My team is full PPR too, by the way. Dude, your team is solid, bro. Team is solid. Absolutely love it.
And we got subs all around, baby. That's
whoa.
I think that's 3 subscribers this episode.
Dude,
Thank
we're
you
all
so
here
much.
for promotion, bro. Put your link in the chat. Maybe people want to come check you out too. Do it, man. We're all for it.
100%.
Jacob, are we ready for some Fool's Gold?
Absolutely.
Let's run before we get any more comments. Fool's Gold Players of the Week, Week 4. I'll start us off. It's DJ Moore, wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. He just has not been what you have wanted him to be this year. I even heard some friends conversing the other day talking about dropping DJ Moore. I just don't know if we're there yet. He has been prone time and time again to kind of quote unquote disappear. And then he comes out and puts these strong showings together. He hasn't appeared at all so far this season. And I don't think he gets it done this week. With that being said, DJ Moore, Baker Mayfield combination, it's not my cup of tea. I don't want any part of it this week. I am staying away. Sleeper currently has him as a wide receiver, not wide receiver 11, currently projected for 11 points under 10 fantasy points. He just is not seeing the targets. His routes are nice. He's running a lot of routes, but the targets aren't there. So this offense runs through CMC and whoever flanky, crusty guy Baker Mayfield is able to find. They finally got a W this last week, so hopefully something pans out. I don't know. But with that being said, DJ Moore is my Fool's Gold player this week. Jacob, any thoughts? I had who they were playing in the notes, and now they seem to be gone.
Yeah, it's look, other than CMC, I'm not touching any players in Carolina right now. Yeah, that's a good call. He's the number 1 target there, and he should, if he was on another team or had a different quarterback, he would be much, much better. But I agree with you. I'd bench him this week. You probably have a better option.
Yeah, most definitely. They play the Arizona Cardinals this week, a team you can put on points on. And hey, I hope I'm wrong. With Fool's Gold players, Jacob, we always hope we're wrong. We don't want to say people are going to be bad.
We don't want people to fail.
Who are we to say? We only got, a couple of stats, some advice in our natural eye for talent because we are
playing Arizona, by the way.
Seekers.
Did you say that?
Yeah, I did say that.
Okay.
Which is actually a good matchup. He just, he's going to be on your bench when he goes off because right now you're just not starting him. And I don't think it happens this week either. So DJ Moore, Fool's Gold player for week 4 this week. Jacob, let's go ahead and get yours in before we get some more questions going.
Absolutely. And now, look, I have to preface mine by saying this one can really come back to bite me because I'm going with Isaiah McKenzie of the Buffalo Bills. He had a really good game last week, but I think there's a few things that factored into that. Gabe Davis was coming off his injury, and I think he was just like getting comfortable being back in the lineup. So it gave McKenzie more way to have a good game. And I think that's going to go right back to it. Look, Gabe Davis, he could sit this week. So if he does sit this week, then erase everything I just said. But it looks like he's resting today for practice, but that's just a precaution. Nothing like his injury hasn't gotten worse. So I do think Gabe Davis is going to be slide right back in to being the secondary target for Josh Allen. But like I said, this could come back to bite me because the Baltimore Ravens have been getting in crazy shootouts all season, it seems like. And if the Buffalo Bills if that's what's going to happen in this game, all wide receivers on the field are fair game to have a blow-up game. But all I'm saying is, look, don't expect too much from Isaiah McKenzie based on the last week, and just don't assume that he's automatically going to jump Gabe Davis as the wide receiver too. Again, keep an eye on injury reports. If we find out, somebody is sitting out from the Buffalo Bills and McKenzie's playing, then that changes everything. But I just think we need to pump the brakes on Isaiah McKenzie a little bit.
It's not a bad take, man. I've been diving more into these things here. Gabe Davis, sure, he showed out in week 1 and he showed out kind of in week 3, but really only 5 and 6 targets. So Josh Allen's running the ball a lot. That's the first thing I think of. Then we look at Isaiah McKenzie, 9 targets last week. So that's more than Gabe Davis has seen at any time and point this week, but he also had the touchdown. It's a tough one. Like you said, you wanted to swallow the pill. This is where we get interesting with our Fool's Gold players. It's all about perspective. And we're not telling you these guys are going to egg for the bomb of the year. What am I even saying? We're not saying these players are going to bomb for the rest of the year. We're just saying simply temper your expectations. And that's what the motto always is for Fool's Gold players. Let's go ahead. I can't use my mouse, so I'm using my laptop. Bet the Cook owner wish he had Mattison right now. What's the latter trade value? High end, wide receiver, RB2, package, Maddie with another player for an RB wide receiver, RB1. Gio, I love your comments. Hopefully he got back to you, and I think he did. Hopefully you all got me, man. I didn't accept yet, but I'm about to. If he says no to Marquise and Coughlin, you guys are pro analysts. I'm not that high on Coughlin. Neither are we, especially with Zach Wilson coming back. People need to realize that. Let's see. Ravens versus Bills. I hope it's a shootout, but I also think Lamar's in for his first real test of the season. And then how many running backs have big games versus the Ravens?
Wait. Can I mention one?
Sure, go ahead.
Ramondre Stevenson had a big game against the Ravens last week. That's my boy.
Finally,
we got to see him do something great.
Jacob, I'm so glad you said that. I know we usually do our Sunday night and Monday night matchups. We're running a little fast on time, and I know my man is in finals week this week. Yeah, that's right. We're people that are pursuing and investing in ourselves. So we appreciate all the questions that we've got tonight. We really do. We may touch on those, but because you mentioned Ramondre Stevens, Jacob, I just called you Ramondre Jacobson.
I like that.
Let's go ahead and get right into our gut. Listen to your gut. Start sits of the week. Jacob, are you ready?
Let's do it.
I'm not ready. I was really hoping you'd say, give me a second or something.
So. Let me ponder that for a moment.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Come on, dude. We're supposed to be telepathic at this point. All right, timer on the clock. Are you ready, sir? It starts once I read the first question. Elijah Moore at Pittsburgh or Adam Thielen at New Orleans in London?
Adam Thielen at New Orleans. Noah
Brown, wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys versus Washington, or Greg Dortch, wide receiver for the Cardinals at Carolina?
Greg Dortch.
Ooh, nice. Ramondre Stevenson at Green Bay, or Damian Harris at Green Bay?
Ramondre Stevenson. I'm never making that mistake again.
Go Jameis Winston at Minnesota, or Carson Wentz at Dallas?
Carson Wentz. I don't know.
And Tampa Bay versus Kansas City, or New York Giants in Chicago?
Oh, New York and Chicago.
Wait, you taking the New York defense?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's what I was trying to say. And 47. That was long. I think I just read too much. If I took out some of the reading, that would have been perfect timing, Jake.
Yeah, and some of my responses were too long. They're just supposed to be like the name. That's it.
There you go. Listen to your gut, presented by us. Listen to your gut, folks. When it comes down to it, Valves, listen to your gut. Carson, listen to your gut, man. Listen to your gut. I like Adam Thielen this week. I think he finds the end zone. I like Greg Dortch this week. I think he's been commanding a lot of targets. Although I do love Noah Brown. You know I'm a Noah Brown truther. But I think he's got the tougher defense. I love Greg Dortch. I love Ramondre Stevenson this week. I would have gone with him as well. I actually like Jameis Winston against Minnesota. I just think
That was the one I wasn't 100%
I mean,
confident in,
I
but I had
like
to make a
Carson
decision.
Wentz. I like Carson Wentz, but I like Jameis Winston more this weekend, and I think much more of a potential blow-up game with two very up-tempo offenses. And then I am with you. I think Tampa Bay is a defense that a lot of people are holding on to. They're holding tight with because they're a strong, stout defense. But New York Giants against the Chicago Bears. How many pass attempts? I got to look that up now. How many pass attempts did Justin Fields have last week? I was listening to some people the other day, and they said something like 12 attempts. It's just insane out there. So you got to start your New York Giants. Before we get out of here today, give him 40 seconds. Oh, give him 40 seconds? No, 25 seconds is the rule. Although I might have to change that because I got to account for my stutters.
It ended up being 40 seconds.
It did. I forgot to say I also have Connor. So which two out of Connor, Madison, Jamal, Keenan?
Man, that's now we're gonna have to look up matchups. I mean, I said Madison and Jamal over Keenan for sure.
And he's also speculating if they're out. I'd probably state if they're all out, I'd probably go Madison, Keenan, to be honest with you.
The Cardinals are playing the Panthers, though. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of these.
Yeah, but he's asking for your gut. Listen to your gut, Jacob.
I'm a huge believer in Madison. So I would look. Connor has an easy matchup. So they're playing the Panthers. Okay, Madison's playing. They're going to London, right? They're playing New Orleans, who has a good defense. Who are the Lions? The Lions are playing the Seahawks. Ooh. I might look. Jamal Williams is an RB1 with Swift on the field. I'm not benching him against Seattle. So I'm starting Jamal Williams for sure. Then I would go Connor or Madison. If Connor's fully healthy, I'll probably go Connor because the Saints are a tough defense and they're playing in London. You never know. Players get weird about long flights and stuff. So yeah, I'll go Connor and Madison, but Gabe doesn't agree.
I do not. So hopefully do with it what you must. Try hard, Zay. When else fails, you can start Zay Jones. He's on waiver wires. He's been pretty consistent. But hopefully we did something enough there.
Just start Zay Jones over all of them. Screw it.
Thank you so much for your questions, man. We hope we were able to help you out, along with all of you that stopped in today to say hello, give us your thoughts. Just have a conversation. Sometimes at the end of the day, we're not pros. We're just regular fantasy football players like you. But it's nice to talk to someone who has an unbiased opinion and also who isn't in your league. So it's always a good perspective to get a fresh take from us, which is why we appreciate all of you stopping out today. Before we go, please be sure to follow us here on YouTube if you see our faces, or anywhere else you get your podcasts on streaming platforms such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at First Round Fantasy. We appreciate the love so much. Jacob, do we have time for an encore? Because we have one more question that just came in.
Why not?
Why not?
This is why we're here, to talk to you guys and discuss fantasy.
Let's get it in. I'm 1-2 in a 12-team, 2 QB Superflex PPR, 3 wide receivers, QBs.
It's my kind of league right there.
There we go. Lamar, Lawrence, and Goff. His running backs are C-Mac, Etienne, Akers, and McKissick. His wide receivers are CD, Debo, Smith, Bateman, Moore. Improve my team. Improve your team. Poof, your team's improved. Maybe he's looking for potential trade partners. I don't really know. I like Lamar. I like Lawrence. I like Goff. Etienne and McKissick are your weak point at RBs. Jacob seems to think Etienne's going to go off this week. That's his dark horse. So maybe this is a good point to
like how
into the stratosphere.
They just say, improve my team, like any way necessary, waiver wires, trades. But hold on real quick. Try hard, Zay. I meant start Connor and Williams. That's what I meant to say. Not Madison against the Saints, if you're deciding between them.
Wide receivers: CD, Debo, Smith, Bateman, Elijah Moore. I think your wide receiver core is pretty solid. I don't think there's really anything to mess with there. Smith has had great games. Bateman's had great games. Elijah Moore, really low floor, probably going to be your bench fill-in at this point. But you've probably been winning just by looking at this team. You've won your weeks mainly
With
because
Lamar.
of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So you're keeping Lamar Jackson put.
Yeah. I mean,
you're
and you got
keeping Christian McCaffrey.
a solid quarterback too in Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want to improve somewhere, it's
Running
probably
back.
your running back room. So if that's saying, hey, let me package ETN because he's young, and it looks like this is probably, I don't know if this is, let's just assume it's not a dynasty, then maybe
Yeah.
you want to move someone like C-Mac and maximize value, get like 2 lesser backs just to give you more depth. Because once bye weeks come, man, and you're missing C-Mac and you're choosing between those 3 guys, it's going to be real tough. It's going to be real tough on you. But your QB and your wide receivers should help you get through most of your bye weeks. But yeah, that's where you need to improve.
So if I had this team and if I wanted to make an improvement.
Oh, he says it's a dynasty, by the way, and he wants to get Mixon. Sorry, I thought I would fill that in there.
It is a dynasty. That changes everything. So
and then trade C-Mac.
Trade Christian McCaffrey if you can. But I have Christian McCaffrey in a dynasty league, and people will not like. I can't get anything of that like that I would accept for him. So I know it's really difficult. Look, I would be looking. Dynasty. I would be looking to trade a wide receiver and a running back for a better running back. You have a lot of good wide receivers. If you aren't absolutely in love with Devontae Smith and he's a player you're willing to move, I would look to move Devontae Smith coming off the hot game and either Akers or ETN for a huge upgrade at running back. That's what I would try to do. Gabe, you're muted.
Jacob, that is a salty take. I don't know if I like that one bit. One bit, my friend. That's scary.
What I'm saying, look, here, fantasy football and the value of players is like the stock market. It changes in an instant. Devontae Smith could have a 3-point game next week, and all of a sudden you can't get anything for him. You have his highest value right now. So I'm saying, like, it's not crazy for someone to take. Would you trade Smith and Akers or ETN for Javonte Williams? Like, is that crazy? I would do that.
No, I guess when you say it like that.
I would do that in a dynasty league. I don't even know if the Javonte owner would take that, to be honest. So that's what I'm saying. See if you can get upgrade at running back and get a Javonte Williams or a, name your favorite young dynasty running back. See if you can get them for Smith and another running back. Or if you love Smith, look at trading Debo or Bateman. Never trade low on players. Always trade high.
Always trade high. Jacob, that's probably one of the best pieces of advice you can give. He says he's had C-Mac since his rookie year. Sure, man. Cut those ties because eventually what's the fact that was interesting this year? We did our interesting facts episode, and my interesting fact this year was that in the last 5 years, no running back over the age or at the age of 27 or higher has finished as a top, I think, 8 running back for fantasy. And it's just unfortunate, man, because those bodies get dwindled and they go hard. And when they go quick and fast. But Jacob, a lot of good advice there. So I'm not going to respond. Brian Mallory, if you're subbing, it's because you listen to Jacob, not because you got anything from me. Vincent, thanks for stopping in, man. Standard League. Who to start at the flex? I got London, Bateman, Higgins, Josh Jacobs, Pollard, and Madison. That is a lot of options. Jacob, I feel like you'd say London for some
100%.
Wait, Higgins. No, T. Higgins. T. Higgins.
Is that T. Higgins? Dang.
Dude, I'd start T. Higgins.
I mean, of course, I would go. I'm guessing
Pollard, I don't even think has Pollard even had a touchdown this year yet. I think he's busted out some great runs, but no touchdowns.
Man, I mean, if that's T. Higgins, for sure, T. Higgins. Or you can only start one.
Looks like.
Oh, he said standard league.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to bank on the
Um,
touchdowns here, bud.
I would
Oh,
still start T. Higgins over all of them. And
yeah,
then I
I
would
would too.
go Madison if Cook sits.
Yeah, Pollard's had 1 touchdown. That was a game where he had 9 carries on the goal line. Yeah, dude, T. Higgins all the way, man. Vincent, I
Mm-hmm.
hope we were able to help you out, my dude. Let's see. It's a
Has to be
dynasty
T. Higgins.
CSB. Do you guys think I should pair Keenan with Connor to try grabbing a better wide receiver? And if so, what wide receivers do you think I should trade for? So Keenan and Connor. I think for
Yes,
that value, go ahead. Sorry.
yes, you should do that. What wide receivers you should go for depends on your league mates, like who they're willing to trade, how they value them. Every league is different. But Gabe, you had a wide receiver in mind?
Yeah, I'd probably try to go someone. No, I don't, because I wouldn't do it for Terry McLaurin. I wouldn't. I'm trying
No.
to think of those like solid.
See,
You'd
like,
have to go into wide receiver 1 range there, and it's like you're not
yeah.
doing your top tier guys.
And the
You're
thing
not
is,
doing.
those people who have those players aren't going to do it. Like, if you try to get Waddle for that or Hill, they're not going to do it.
Not at all. So
Yeah.
here, I got a better idea. Let me pull this up really quick, and we'll see if we can get a good projection here. While we think about that,
Okay, I want to go back to Vincent. Or no, hold on. Who was it? Brian Mallory. I would not do this trade in Dynasty. Your league is a Dynasty league. I would rather have Devontae Smith alone than Joe Mixon in a Dynasty league. Look, Joe Mixon is amazing, and if you have him, you have a good chance of winning. Like, if you really want to win this year, go for it. But like, I really like Etienne and Devontae Smith in Dynasty.
what you could do see, now we're just hopping all over the place, Jacob. Come on, man. Let's stay in one place. Let me see here. Where's he at? Let's pull this back
You're talking
up.
about this, yeah.
And I'm just kind of looking at it right now. You know, guys that have high upside for later on in the year. Maybe you can look for a guy like Drake London. A guy like, that's tough, dude. Drake London. Yeah, I don't like Amari Cooper. I'm just looking at rankings here now. And my rankings are not like that.
Who else is around that? What range is that? Is that like
I mean, these are guys that you think that you're going to probably get like as a wide receiver 1. These are the guys that you're going to target, right? Like this is who you're obviously looking to improve over Keenan Allen. So just on wide receiver rankings alone, let me see here. Allen, yeah, wide receiver 22. No. You're talking about guys. If you're looking for wide receiver 1 status type of guys, you're looking at Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown. Those are back half wide receiver 1s. So that means you're then looking at wide receiver 2 guys like Marquise Brown, Mike Williams, Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton might be your guy if you're super excited about him. Yeah. And I know we had a guy earlier in the chat that was super excited about him. Cortland Sutton might be a guy. But even then, I think you need more to even out that trade.
If you can get a wide receiver 1 for that, do it. We just don't know. Like, we know in our leagues, our league mates aren't trading a wide receiver 1 for that.
Yeah, maybe a Christian Kirk as well, especially with the way that Trevor Lawrence is playing. But man, I like Keenan Allen. He's been hurt. Yes. He's been injured. Yes. But he's going to be that guy that's going to give you that top 12, top 14 production. I mean, he's been solid year in and year out. Go up and look at his fantasy production over the last 6 or 7 years. He's done nothing but not let you down for fantasy purposes. So if that's a redraft league, man, I'd say you hold on to him. Let's see. Yes, it is T. Higgins. Dude, start him. Start him up. Starting wide receivers are AJ Brown and Waddle. You're killing it, dude.
Okay.
Vince, why are you even talking to us, bro? Why are you even talking to us?
Yeah.
Go be a god somewhere else, because that's how good your team is. Running backs are Eckler and J-Rob. Well, you got lucky with James Robinson. Yeah. I don't know when you got him in your draft, but by golly, is he saving your team right now? It's running back 3 on the year. Brian Mallory says CD and Akers for Mixon.
No. In Dynasty, no.
Is that what this is the same guy still talking about
Dynasty league, yeah. I wouldn't even trade Lamb, CD for Mixon.
No. Christian Watson versus Tyler Lockett versus Jarvis Landry. If we're talking about like keep, trade, cut, maybe, or start, sit, I'm starting Tyler Lockett. I'm cutting Jarvis Landry, and I'm cutting Christian Watson.
Yeah, Tyler Lockett.
Keep, trade, cut. I'm keeping Tyler Lockett. I'm trading. Yeah, you can't even trade those guys. I'm starting Tyler Lockett this week. He's been consistent all year long. Christian Watson's still trying to find his footing in the NFL, especially with Aaron Rodgers.
This is like
Jarvis Landry,
dumpster fire question, but Lockett.
Yeah, there you go. ETN or Stevenson this week in
why
PPR.
You gotta do this to me, man.
Let's go.
Why you gotta do this to me? I'm going Stevenson.
Let's go Stevenson, baby, in the paint. I'll send trades for Waddle, Reek, and AJ Brown. If not, I'll keep them. Yeah, man, then you're keeping them because I don't know who's doing that. If someone does take that trade, please come back here next Wednesday. We're live every Wednesday at 7:30. Come back. Tell us how you did. I'm really interested. Or reach out to us on social media at our handles below. Let's see. Hunt or Dylan in the flex? Bro, Hunt. I think he's just been good this year.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about AJ Dillon, and he's questionable this week. And yeah, no, I would go Hunt. It breaks my heart, but Hunt.
Brian says, thanks. Great advice. Great show, dude.
This is why we do it.
This is why we do it, man. I can't bring it home enough. We are average fantasy football players just like you guys. It's nice to just bounce ideas off of other guys who love fantasy football, who aren't in your home leagues, who aren't in the leagues that you play in. So the more we can help you and just give you a wall to kind of sound off on, let us do it for you, man. That's all we're here for. And, obviously we want to get good at this. Yeah, dude. Let me control the comments, all right? Honestly, I am just lucky because I picked J-Rob up from the waivers. Dude, waiver darling of my waiver darling of 2 years ago, right, Jacob? I am not a god. You guys were super helpful tonight. Thank you for everything. Definitely coming by for more.
Yeah.
Fine, dude.
You meant your lineup is godly.
No, I got to take it back now. Vincent, your lineup is not godly. All right? There. I took the claim from you, okay? But thank you so much for stopping by. We definitely hope to see you again, man. We're always down to give you some advice or just lend our ears lend us your keyboards and our eyes. Right?
Hilliard, huh?
We need to start having viewers on the show, man. That'd be kind of fun. Gibson and Hilliard for Robinson. Ooh, that's a good one. Probably wouldn't do it. And here's why. Hilliard's a handcuff. Gibson's been putting up okay numbers thus far this season. Robinson is the running back 3 on the year. I'm staying firm with Robinson. He's done nothing.
Yeah, if you're getting Robinson, then yes. But the Robinson side, either way.
Yeah, there you go.
He could be a league winner again.
By the way, sorry, didn't even think to mention your name. King Braganon. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for stopping by tonight. And Try Hard Zay, staying with us all night long. He's got a lot of hate for this trade I did, which is understandable. I sent Jettas.
Oh, Justin Jefferson for Jamar and Ayuk, right?
Oh, I personally think Jamar is a better player and has a better QB in a situation than Jefferson. Yeah, dude, I don't dislike that trade. I mean, when you're talking about dynasty, that's 1-2 right there. And plus you got Ayuk on top of that. That's a great trade. Good trade, man. Yeah. Good trade. Let's see. Seems like Jamar gets the deep ball every game for a TD if it's caught. Well, that and he could take a slant 75 yards to the house. So he's capable of anything. He's a great wide receiver. And, I really hope Justin Jefferson can turn it around this week because he's put up 2 duds in a row. That's just because teams are double coveraging him now. And that's what he's going to see. So the next few weeks, we're going to really kind of, I don't want to say hold our breath because he is an exceptional athlete and an exceptional wide receiver, but we're going to really be watching with a close eye as these teams really start to target Justin Jefferson. And, these are going to be make it or break it weeks for him, not necessarily like in dynasty or anything like that, but just in terms for fantasy, because people are going to start to get disappointed if Justin Jefferson strings together another 4.6 point week. There's going to be a little bit of panic. Obviously, we're not saying panic, because we're telling you it's going to be okay, but he's going to have some growing pains if these teams are throwing them out like that. Double coverage like him like that. You got lucky last week, Gabe. Freaking Russ, man. I think he's referring to our dynasty. Jake, I said it, bro. I'm trying to lose. Don't beat me, all right? You're only lessening my chances of getting your number 1 overall pick.
You mean is what you're saying.
Yeah, don't lose to me, please. You need to beat me next time, Jake. I think I will play you again. I'm a regular 10-man PPR. Oh, I'm in a regular 10-man PPR. Yeah. Dude, great trade. Jokes, Broncos will win versus Raiders. You get at it. You know what, Star Drew? I liked you until now.
Hey, With that, Gabe's a Raiders fan too. Don't forget
I'm
that.
angry, and we're closing out the show. Let's talk Devontae then. Let's talk about having a good night. Jacob, again, follow us, First Round Fantasy on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. I got some deals I have to make behind the scenes here, apparently for Devontae Smith. Jacob, do you have a hot take lined up for us tonight?
I don't.
Well, then I'm going to give it one to you right now. Are you ready? Wait, are you ready? Like you got the cue lined up and everything?
I'm ready, yeah.
All right, perfect. Oh, dude, I just can't. Hold on. Sorry. Brian, possible trade partners, SRBs, Fournette, J-Rob, Eckler, and wide receiver Higgins, Hill, and Evans. Possible trade partner has. Oh, we're talking about those guys.
Oh, for the dynasty trade? Yeah, that's tough, man. You got to tweet at us. You can tweet at either of us anytime and ask about trade questions. We'll be glad to answer.
I mean, I like your running backs as is, and as much as I like J-Rob, he'd probably be the one I'd target. Not Eckler, not Fournette, probably J-Rob at this point. I think that team's really coming together, man. And then, thank you. Gets right into my point. Where was I? Oh, that's right. You were about to cue me. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning out. I'm sorry. I got a dog that needs feeding. Jacob's got finals that he has to study for. We are getting out of here tonight. We appreciate you all so much. You don't even know how much it means to us. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if we answered a question this week and you got it wrong, come back next week. Give us another try. We're all just here to, be good, I guess. Jacob, you ready for my hot take?
I'm ready.
Raiders aren't just winning this week. They're winning by 3 touchdowns. That's right. I'm calling it 28-7 Raiders. Good night, folks.